I'll be very brief. I was a collegiate swimmer, of course, at the University of Kentucky. I'm biased, but I think the SEC is the best conference. Sorry, guys. But swam at University of Kentucky. My junior year, I ended up finishing 7th in the country. And so it was really right then and there that I knew my senior year, I wanted to win a national title, which would, of course, mean becoming the fastest female in my respective event in the country. And so right on pace to achieve that until the NCAA announced we would be competing against male Leah Thomas, formerly Will Thomas. Swam 3 years on the men's team at the University of Pennsylvania before deciding to switch to the women's team, where at best he ranked 462nd the year prior when competing against the men, to of course then would win a national title in the women's division. That first day was the 500 freestyle, second day was the day that we raced. In the 500 is where Thomas won the national title, beating out Olympians, beating out American record holders. I mean, the most impressive female swimmers this world has ever seen by body lengths. And so that next day, Thomas and I competed against each other in the 200 freestyle, which almost impossibly enough, we raced and we tied. So we went the exact same time down to the 100th of a second, which is pretty rare when you're racing for, a minute and 40 seconds and not even 1/100 separated us. And so we get out of the water and we go behind the awards podium and the official looks at me and says, "Great job." Looks at both Thomas and myself. Thomas, who's 6'4". Wikipedia says 6'1", but Wikipedia is lying. Thomas is 6'4". Me a measly 5'5.5". But this official says, "Great job, but you guys tied. And we only have one trophy, so we're gonna give this trophy to Leah. Sorry, Riley, but you go home empty-handed." And I was so taken aback by this, and I asked the question that no one dared ask all season. And I said, why? I know we tied. I know we don't necessarily account for ties in terms of trophies, but why are you adamant on giving this trophy to a male in the women's 200 freestyle? And I actually appreciate his honesty because he said, well, we've been advised when pictures are being taken that Leah has to have the trophy. So Riley, again, you can pose with this one, but ultimately you give yours back, Leah takes the trophy home, you go home empty-handed, end of story. And so of course all season, I knew what was happening was wrong. Ever since I found out who Leah Thomas was, I knew it was wrong, the unfair competition. I knew the locker room aspect, which we could touch on, was wrong. I knew the silencing that we were dealing with was wrong. But when they reduced everything that we had worked, and when I say we, I mean every girl at that meet, you don't just get there by chance. I dedicated 18 years of my life to my sport. From the time I was 4 to 22 years old, I swam. And it's pretty miserable, to be totally honest. You're practicing 6 hours a day. You're in the cold water at 5 a.m., swimming nearly 10 miles each day. I will say the benefit is you can eat whatever you want. But other than that, it was pretty miserable. But it's a love-hate, and so it's impossible to put into words the amount of effort and time and sacrifices you make. But when they reduced all of that down to a photo op to validate the feelings and the identity of a man at the expense of our own, that's when I knew I was done waiting for someone else, because I truly was. I was waiting for someone else to do it. I thought surely a coach would, or surely someone's dad would. Someone would do something. But when I realized that's not what we were seeing, it really hit me that we as women, it's not fair for us to expect someone else to do it if we're not even willing to do it. This has to come from us. And so that's ultimately